How's it going, you guys? It's Gems. Hope you're doing great. I'm back with another tutorial. Today I wanted to talk about melodies and bassline melodies specifically. I'm working on some hip-hop music and I thought it'd be cool to cover how to make bass lines for hip-hop music. If you don't come from a background of music or playing bass or rhythm in general, because bass normally keeps the rhythm in songs, you might be clueless as to how to go about this. So I want to show what I'm working on and give a couple suggestions on different methods you can do to add cool bass lines to these hip-hop kind of beats. Let's get started. So I'm just going to show the track that I've been working on so you can have some background as to what's going on. You get the idea. It just repeats that over and over. Just started it. But it definitely needs some progression. It needs something moving the music along. Right now it's just kind of sitting, and I want something to be a little quicker. So I'm going to add a bass line to kind of relieve that. Now the bass I'm going to be using today is in a contact package. It's just a sub bass. I thought it sounded analog enough and also authentic enough to a real bass guitar where I could further process it with like a guitar rig or something like that. Some of the presets for like slap basses, they're really not great. They're kind of tingy and slappy, things like that. So I kind of wanted to do that in post-process so I could have more control. So I'm just using a basic analog sub bass. So there's different melodies you can do here. I'm going to show you two different kinds. You can do a fast bass line where you kind of do a walking bass line to guide beat to beat the rhythm, or you can kind of stay laid back with the kick drum and mimic what the kick drum is doing and give it more of an in the pocket feel. So I'm going to start with the in the pocket feel because that's the easiest one to do. So basically I'm just going to show the kick pattern again in the snare. So you can tell there's a good amount of bass notes to help push the beat along, and there's also some space. So what I'm going to do is when the kick drum is kicking, I'm going to try to keep it simple, and then when there's space, I'm going to add little embellishments here, maybe a grace note or a slide or just another note, and make it a little unique from there. So I'm just going to record this in and I'll show you what I mean. So it's pretty simple there. I'm going to pull this up just so you can see the rhythm as to what I'm doing on the keys in case you can't see very well. There's some wrong notes in here every now and then because my keyboard is sensitive, but basically what I'm doing is if I overlap this with the kick, so I'm just going to copy the kick over, put in this track. I'm just doing this so you can see the timing of it. I'm going to get rid of it later. So I'm going to sneak this underneath. So whenever these four notes come in with this kick drum, I'm going to keep a long bass tone. And I'm going to hit another bass tone when a kick hits again. Kind of like what an 808 trap pattern would do is whenever there's a kick, you're going to have some bass underneath it. But you can also have a variation where you don't do that. So every other time I add this little fill where I do a syncopated rhythm where I go up to a different note and then climb back down in the scale to hit this bottom note. Now the key I'm in, I think it's an F scale kind of. The notes I'm doing are F, G, and E. So it's going F, 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 G, 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 D, F. So it's just doing that over and over. And so when it climbs up, I'm climbing up in scale and I'm climbing back down in scale. And whenever this last note hits, this E, I'm mimicking that with a longer bass note. And that kind of gives it an in the pocket kind of feel. It kind of gives it kind of lay back, like you're going to nod your head and halftime kind of do something like that. So I'm going to mute these so it doesn't ruin it. And I'll play it again so you can kind of hear that. Yeah, there's a wrong note there. But basically what I'm doing is adding syncopation to the bass line. So I'm not keeping on this 4/4 grid where it's beat, 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 4 beats, 4/4 time signature. I'm kind of going off of it and adding a little offset, if you will. And that offset is helping move the beat along. It's changing the meter of the notes that you have in the pattern. In a future video that I'm working on, I'm going to go into depth on how to add forward motion with your drum tracks, with your melodies, things like that. So I'm not going to go into it in depth right now, but basically what you need to know is the syncopation adds kind of like that funky groove. Like Stevie Wonder, if you play any of the bass lines in that, that's all syncopation. Nothing's really on the beats or on the end, on the 8th notes. They're on 16th notes. So mess around with that if you can. Like I did here, I didn't hit the bass note on this first one. I hit it on the second one and left it longer. You can add variations like that, but syncopation is key. Now the next rhythm I'm going to do is for basically for moving walking basses. So in jazz bands, in different genres, rock, blues, you have bass lines that climb up and down a scale, and that determines the rhythm. It's not always the drummer that has the rhythm. It's usually the bass guitarist and the drummer who have the rhythm together. So when there's a walking bass line, that's really determining the tempo, the style of the song that you're playing. So in this case, I'm going to do a key in F. And what I'm going to do on the keys is I'm going to do a pattern where I walk up a little bit, walk back down a little bit, walk up a little bit more, a little further to a higher note, walk back down to where I started, and then climb up pretty high and then come back pretty low. And this like seesaw effect is like a walking bass line. There's many different walking bass lines you could do. And I'd suggest investing in some time, whether it's YouTube, on the internet, of bass guitarists and looking at their videos and seeing how they play bass lines. And that will help you make these kind of beats a little bit better. So I'm going to show you a sample one that I'm going to do. The notes are pretty simple. So if you look on the keypad, it's going to be, it's going to be, I'm going to go F. If F's my number 1 key, I'm going to climb up 1, 2, 3, and then back down 2, 3, 1. And then I'm going to climb up 1, 3, 5, and then climb back down. And then what I'm going to do is, since my target note for the next measure is going to be this G, I'm going to climb up a F major 7, which is F, A, C, E, and then add the 9. So basically it's just every other key in the signature as you climb up the piano. And that will hit my target note, and then I'm going to climb back down to the lower E. So what it's going to sound like is something like that. So I'm going to put it in time, try to record it live for you to see the full effect. So yeah, here goes nothing. So you get the point. The walking pattern is just going up and down. I didn't hit all the notes perfectly because that's really hard to do live. But the idea is you climb up a little bit, you teeter back a little bit, you climb up a little bit more, come back a little bit more, come up all the way, and then come back all the way. And it's important to know your chords and when your chords hit in your melody line so that you could time up those bass notes with it. So if you want to be thoughtful about it, pick chords that are easy to work with. Like I picked F because it's a lot of white keys. It's only B flat is the only black key on the keyboard, so it's easy to play those rhythms quickly, like that. So C works. Look up blues scales if you're interested. There are a lot of possibilities you can do. Here are just 2 methods that worked for this beat. If you resonate with one, please let me know in the comments. If you liked the first beat with the slow bass line, kind of in the pocket kind of groove, then let me know. If you like the second one, tell me in the comments. I think both work. You can even mix up the styles if you wanted to throughout the beat. It's just personal preference and the goal of where your next section in this song is taking you. Right now, since I don't have a next section, I'll probably keep it a little basic. And then if it's going to build up to a more heavy section or with more energy, then I'll add the bass line with the walking notes. So please let me know if you thought this was helpful. If you liked the video and you thought it was helpful, please comment below and like. Please subscribe so you can keep up with some more content that I deliver with beat tutorials, beat cookups, beat science, anything in that nature. Yeah, just let me know how you feel about these rhythms, and if this was helpful, I'd love to hear a beat that you make with any of these rhythms or these styles in the future. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you're looking for more social media action. So thank you, and until next time, peace.